Hello QMetry testers. I am Punit Samtani, QMetry product specialist. Today we'll see how Qtm4j allows product owners, test engineers and developers to author BDD feature files directly inside the Jira user story. After enabling Qtm4j for a Jira project user story, there will be two sections visible, BDD and test case acceptance criteria. The BDD section allows test engineers to directly author the BDD feature files inside the Jira user story. These feature files can also be synced or integrated with the source control repositories like Bitbucket, GitHub or GitLab. The test case acceptance criteria section displays list of all the test cases that have to be executed against the user story. Now let's learn how you can enable the BDD section inside the Jira user story. First, you have to go to QMetry project settings. And enable QMetry for Jira for the specific project. Now, choose the Jira issue types that you want to associate as a QMetry story and bug issue types that you want to associate as QMetry bugs. Besides the issue type configuration section, there is another section which is a BDD section. Enabling the BDD panel would display the BDD section for all the Jira issue types that are enabled as QMetry story issue types. So in our case, it would be Jira issue type story and epics will display the BDD panel. Now, organizations or teams already practicing behavior-driven development may have feature files as part of their source control repositories. These source control repositories can be integrated with QMetry projects, and the feature files can be synced between the QMetry and the source control repositories. Let's see how it can be done. So once you have enabled the BDD panel, click on New BDD configuration. Currently, Qtm4j supports Bitbucket, GitHub and GitLab. So integration with any of these three version control repositories can be established. Let's take an example of Bitbucket. Qtm4j supports integration with both the editions, the cloud edition of the source control repositories and the server or the hosted editions of the source control repositories. There are many very basic configuration settings that are needed. It is the repository that you want to integrate and the basic credentials. To enable integration with this specific repository, you can test the connection and save it. So once the basic settings are done, you are now ready to author BDD feature files directly inside the Jira user story. Now let's see the functionality. Now let's see how a BDD authoring can be done inside the Jira user story. So once the BDD panel is enabled, you go to the Jira user story, click on the BDD section. The BDD section will be displayed. Users can directly start writing the feature files in this section. This section supports the Gherkin syntax, or in case organizations have already feature files authored in their source control repositories, that can be integrated inside this Jira user story. Now, how do you do that? So once the version control repository integration is done, that we have seen in the last step, click on the expand view and you can choose the Bitbucket repository that we have already integrated, the required branch. You can choose the required folder path where the feature file resides. So my feature file is actually residing in the root folder. And the name is banking.feature. And I would just pull the details into my Jira user story. Now, once this is done, you would see that my Bitbucket repository has been integrated with my Jira story. The BDD section will display the branch and the folder path along with the name of the feature file that is integrated along with the Jira story. Now, any changes that are made into the version control repository, which is in our case it is Bitbucket, can be pushed or pulled directly into the repository. So let's say if I am making some changes to my feature file, I can just push the changes these changes will be saved directly in the version control repository. This is how users can push or pull the changes from the source control repositories, or can directly start writing the BDDV feature files inside the QMetry test management for Jira and just save it. I hope the demo was helpful. Please reach out to QMetry support if you have any follow-up questions. Thank you.